really interesting. Went from funny to kind of really cool. I've always wondered, like, why UFOs in the sky show themselves, are kind of there, don't really talk to us. People are making contact with them. What is that about? Like, why are they doing that? It's so confusing, right?
Yeah.
So this is what he said. We have been contacting, this is what Hatun said, who has a different voice than Rob probably. We have been contacting people of Earth for many, many, many of your years. We have been contacting at intervals of thousands of years. ... It is time for many of the people of this planet to be contacted. ... And it goes on. So then later he says, at this time I am in a craft far above your place of dwelling. I am at this time able to monitor your thoughts. Okay, this is where it gets
creepy.
Really interesting. We of the Confederation of Planets in service of the infinite creator have been for many of your years aware of many principles of reality. We are aware of these principles because we have availed ourselves to them just as the people of your planet may do. It is possible through meditation to totally reduce the illusion that you now experience that creates a separation, an illusionary separation, to what it actually is, a total illusion. We of the Confederation of Planets in service of the infinite creator, Jesus, they repeat themselves like crazy, are very sorry, this is where it gets interesting, are very sorry that we cannot step upon your soil and teach those of your people who desire our service. But, my friends, as we have said before, this would be a great disservice to those who do not desire our service at this time, and we are afraid we would have little effect in bringing understanding even to those who desire it for understanding, my friends. We can only guide, we can only suggest. We are attempting to do this in such a way that the seeking of the individual will be stimulated to turning his thinking inward to that single source of love and understanding, the Creator, that is part of us all, part of everything that exists. For everything that exists, my friends, is the Creator. So what basically he's saying there is that if you reach out, they're there. They're already there. They're waiting. They're already here. These ancient beings are here, hovering outside of our dimension, waiting for us to reach out, waiting for us to ask to be a part of, I don't know, raising our vibration or evolving or whatever word you want to use.
Or to get their messages out into the world.
So they're already there. That's why it's so confusing. So if you reach out and they appear, you're like, how is it possible that I reached out in my mind in a C5 meditation to contact aliens and suddenly they were there? That seems like so unlikely, like they happen to be flying by at the right moment. But it's not about that. If we're all one consciousness, and they're already here, they're waiting for you to reach out. Which this just gave me a lot of inspiration. Like earlier in the season, I talked about I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to track paranormal stuff in my life, and then I'm not going to do anything for 2 months about it. Yeah. And this was just reaffirming that that is the path. Meditation and consciousness is the key to everything paranormal.
Let me throw this curveball your way.
Wait, say your name.
I am Ra. So, what if it's a trap?
Ooh.
This is what when people say they channel stuff, whether it's legitimate, like they're actually getting something out of it, or they're just making it up. But if they're actually getting something out of it, how can we trust it? You know, this seems all pretty positive and love and light and all that sort of stuff. But and I haven't read all of it, obviously, but is there something at the end where it's like, and for $29.99 here's a series of DVDs?
Well, it's funny you say that.
Not
it's
all
mostly
messages
positive.
are good. Just like every time you do something, not everything is good.
But I'm just like, right? a lot of these, it's like using a Ouija board. Sometimes you get really positive messages, but it's like, it seems like it's always these tricksters kind of starting to give you love and light and happiness and reach arounds and stuff.
But this is giving so many people positive.
But when but at the end of it, it leads you down this dark path, and quite often people who maybe it's the human failing, and we've discussed this before, the failing of being human, but it seems like if you go down this path, it's you're opening yourself up to a world of ruin and ridicule. Maybe that's just us not being open to it. I mean, the general population not being open to this sort of stuff.
Well,
that doesn't worry me. But
I don't know. It just seems culty to me.
Well, it can be, but that's if your ego gets in the way, because then it becomes dark. Because then you're using it to confirm that you're like the chosen one, right? So that goes into a dark path. For instance, Carla, she just spent all of her life just channeling. She's just those aren't her original thoughts.
Yeah. She didn't want anything to do with it. Yeah.
Now, could this person just be making could it not be raw? Could it be raw? Could he just be making a bunch of crap up? But the law of one is not a negative piece. Whether you believe in Bigfoot or not,
right?
It doesn't say you have to do anything. It's when people feel like they have to do something and they have to do it because some higher form has told them they have to do it, then that becomes a little bit negative.
But it also feels like one of those texts that's so open to interpretation that
so is
it's
the Bible.
almost like this dangling. Yeah, like
The
any
Bible was
religious
probably
text.
channeled.
With any religious text, it's like it's just dangling this carrot in front of
It can be
people.
abused. Doesn't mean it's necessarily bad.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like a trap. It's a trap. It's like
Well, I mean, it's the interpretation of humanity, though. Like, if you want to find a way to control people, then that will be a trap. If it's a way for you to absorb information and understand how the world works, then it's a positive.
yeah.
So it's up to each individual human to actually decide how they want to interpret information, no matter if it comes from a channeled source or if it comes from just somebody they're listening to talk.
All right, I dig it. I'm
You
going to
guys-
meditate more. Like that's my my resolution for this year. Is,
All I want to do is meditate now and not worry about reaching out to aliens or trying to do this or that. I'm
Wait,
just
when
going
did
to
that
meditate.
just delve
When
within.
did that happen? Did it happen this morning?
Just after reading the book.
I'm like, I'm going to learn to meditate. Step 1, try to contact aliens. I'm like, no, how about I just fucking meditate?
yeah. Let's go back to step one.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm just
all
going to
right.
meditate.
Yeah.
How about that? That's
heard
my
it here
only
first.
goal. This year, just meditate. If paranormal
right.
shit happens, it happens later.
I'm doing it too. Okay.
All right,
All
you
right.
guys have any more thoughts about this? Because we need to get to a super sexy, awesome Nazca
That's
mummy
right.
update.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right, now for my section, digging in the dirt. Digging in the dirt.
So dirty.
Stop it, you guys. Okay, so if you don't know anything about the Nazca mummies, let me just recap really, really fast. So Gaia, including myself, went down to Peru. We got some word that there were some mummies with 3 fingers and elongated heads, and there was a very big body that was about 5'7", and then there was these tiny little bodies that looked like aliens. And it's been an ongoing process for 2 years. So we got the bodies into a university. I got approved in Peru to go to a university called Ica University, and the bodies went there. So what happened afterwards was the police were enforced by the Ministry of Culture to come and take the bodies and destroy them. And the university has actually protected those bodies.
But back up, like, why would the Ministry of Culture and the police come up and try to destroy these when they don't know they're fake yet? They're
Well,
They're trying to
I think we
protect
talked
culture.
about we talked about this in an earlier podcast, but the problem with the Ministry of Culture is that the whole idea that these mummies existed kind of screwed up the system of which they operate in, right? So from the beginning, we tried to get the Ministry of Culture involved right away.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
several documented letters. There's a documentary, and can watch this on Gaia, that prove that from the very beginning we tried to get them involved, and they just didn't want nothing to do with it.
Okay.
In fact, we had a hearing at the Parliament in Peru, and the Ministry of Culture was there, and they said they wanted nothing to do with it then. So finally, the bodies get to go to a university. However, the Ministry of Culture, knowing that now we were continuing the research, wanted them destroyed because then we could stop the research.
yeah.
So they successfully have secured the bodies. And that was several months ago. And within the 6-month period, they've been doing their own testing. And they are now going to come out with their own statement that says that they believe that the bodies are real. And they are...
At least a new species. They're not saying alien, of course. But
they're not saying alien, but they believe that...
It's a big deal, though.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
The bodies are 100... Like, all the bodies. There's, like I said, there's a large body.
2 different races.
Yeah, 2 different races, 5'7". Looks a little bit more human-like. And then very small bodies that are about 2 feet tall that look a little bit more not human.
All 3 fingers, yep.
All 3 fingers, elongated heads. So they are also working with doctors from other countries, including the United States. There's going to be some radiologists and some experts coming from the United States to take a look.
Wow.
So they're going to be making an announcement pretty soon. The only thing that was weird happening, and if you do follow the story, there is the Wakero grave robber that has been a dodgy person in this whole thing, which makes that's what makes it feel like it's not credible. He at the last minute when he handed the bodies over, he switched out the one pregnant one with a different pregnant one.
Okay.
But apparently that one's
gotcha.
that one's real too.
Gotcha, bitches. So
somehow he saved the other pregnant one, but they both have 3 eggs.
Interesting.
So the little one was called Josephina. That one
Yeah.
got replaced by another small alien.
Called
Not alien,
Louisa.
sorry. I can't say alien.
Yeah, don't say alien.
That was also pregnant. with also the same chest plate. There's some weird technology.
There's a
chest
weird
plate.
technology chest plate. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that another thing? Are they saying, or someone saying, that there might be technology in these little chest plates they're finding on the little
Yeah,
ones?
I heard that too.
Yeah, could be. But I think what they're trying to figure out is what the metal is made out of, so that they can try to trace like how it would have operated.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that's what. But they are making an announcement that they believe that all of the bodies are 100% real.
Wow.
But that means they're just going to keep doing testing on them.
But that's huge news. At the very least, if it's a new species, that's just earth-shattering.
that'd be so
and
cool.
incredible. A 3-fingered offshoot of human beings. Like, come on, that's just
Right.
as interesting as it gets.
So the testing will continue, but that is big news. They're going to make an announcement soon.
Cool.
And I think it's kind of cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
super cool.
That's awesome.
Woo! All right, you guys, that's all the time we have for tonight. This episode, I think, was really interesting because we really talked about like where the message is coming from and why are certain people getting them and why do they have to put this stuff out into the world. And for the most part, it was mostly positive, except Matt had to put a dark spin on it.
Yeah.
And maybe my Greek mythology.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here. So I'm here to help, guys.
That's true. So everybody have a good night and stay safe.
Goodbye.